Hey guys, we just got back from Disney's live-action adaptation of the classic Lilo and Stitch. And I got a little bit of a story. Lilo and Stitch is one of the animated things from Disney I never saw. And it was only last night that I decided to watch it. And I'd just been really late to the party, just finding a reason to watch it. This was my reason. I stayed up till 3 in the morning because not only did I love it so much, I watched the sequel, not as good. I watched the third and the fourth, and yes, there are a third
Holy
movie
shit,
and a fourth
deep
movie.
dive.
I deep dived into it. And the animation in the third one is a travesty. And technically, it's Stitch, the movie, and then one of them is called Leroy and Stitch. And then there's an animated series that deals with experiments 626 and a bunch of other experiments. And you get almost like a Disney Pokemon kind of thing. But it was all spawned from the original Lilo and Stitch that had this heart and emotion and quirkiness to it and uniqueness to it. The animation, damn, the older sister, the way they drew her, she looking real nice.
It does.
This movie, when I first saw the animated movie last night, I'm not ashamed to admit it made me tear up. You know,
real good. Yeah,
I felt that emotion, and that's why I just kept watching and watching. All right, so now we get to the Disney live-action adaptation, which Disney has been doing this a lot recently, obviously.
Stop.
Killing it with Snow White.
Actually killed it, kind of halted production of future live adaptations. But when I saw the trailer, and then not having seen Lilo and Stitch, I thought, okay, this probably going to end on a high note, probably going to be a good one. And now, as a new fan, fresh, okay? You have to realize the original is fresh in my mind. You done fucked it up. This was worse. Worse in every way possible. It is, number one, I gotta say, I'm gonna just say this up front. Captain Gantu is no longer in the film, and that is unforgivable. Instead, Stitch's creator, what is it, Jumba, is the villain here, which removes such an interesting dynamic from the film.
It does.
And I would say that this film is less funny, it is less heartful, it has less emotional impact. And like I said, the original made me cry. This one did nothing of the sort. In fact, we were in a theater filled with kids. It was an earlier showing, and I barely heard them. There's like no reaction. It was really flat. Yeah, a couple chuckles here and there. And to me, let this be the last live-action adaptation for Disney, since it was recently announced that they're going to be putting some of those projects on hold. But if this makes a ton of money, which it is tracking to do well, maybe better than they thought it is, because over time, while the original wasn't a huge hit for Disney, the merchandising, and over time it got big, and it got popular. So I think that's why it's tracking well. But if it does do well, they're probably going to take the wrong lesson from it, and probably do gangbusters. But guys, this really does feel like a film that was meant to go on Disney Plus, which is what it was. Instead of going into theaters, they meant to release this on Disney Plus. Then they said, oh, you know what, let's throw it in theaters. And essentially what it does is it takes elements from the first film, it mixes it with elements from the second film, the much worse second film, and then creates this sort of confused, unfocused third act that is worse in every way possible. And as a new fan of Stitch and Lilo, this was unfortunately a dud for me, guys. what did you guys think of it? I got so much more to say because I wrote a bunch, but
it's probably the best Disney live-action movie we've ever got. Because Mulan was awful.
Mulan was way worse.
So Mulan is terrible.
Dumbo way worse.
Dumbo was worse. Snow White was worse. I don't think Mufasa doesn't count, but I don't think that movie was great.
Aladdin.
It's close. It's close to Aladdin. I think the shots that they did one for one.
Yes.
When they're doing remakes, like seriously, like Stitch is great. The original writer and voice actor Stitch is back. And like he's back playing Stitch. The little girl who played Lilo, I thought she did a really good job too. So when it's just them and the recreating scenes from the original animation, which I also really enjoyed, I think it's charming and it's great. But then they added some things. They added this new character for Tia Carrere, who no longer is the voice actress for the older sister, and she takes away from some stuff. They added this neighbor character. Also takes it not only is there no point other than they wanted to put this actress in there, it takes away from some of the moments because there was times in the original where the older sister's taking her to the pound, right? So she can look at the dogs. And there's some things where she's like, she doesn't know how to be a mom, but she's still trying. She's doing everything she can to like take care of her little sister.
I love their bond.
And then now it's just like some random neighbor lady that's like, fuck off, kid, go in there.
Fuck this neighbor lady character. It takes away from the family dynamic. And they push that line, which is, never leave your family behind. It's a specific thing on the island too. And in the animated series, they even applied to all people of the island. We're all cousins. We call each other cousins. You learn a little bit about the Hawaiian culture. No.
Yeah, and so I think when they made changes, they wanted to do things on their own. I don't think it worked out. I didn't expect to not like Zach Galifianakis because I love Zach Galifianakis.
Thank you for saying this. I hated him. I hated his casting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Way worse.
But I really like him. I like a lot of the projects he's been in, but it's just nothing about the character or the lines. Like something was off, and it wasn't good.
He was not a good Jumba.
No.
Absolutely not. I love the original Jumba. Because he kind of had that accent, and you could tell that maybe at times he's dangerous and evil, and he's jolly and glee in his evilness that he created this monster. And here his character is so flat, so boring, so uninterested. It feels like Zach was like, I didn't even know who I was going to play in the film until the last minute, which I think is an interview that he got. So now it makes sense that, he's like doesn't care about the character.
Yeah, or they wrote it. I mean, you never know whose fault it is. But whatever happened, it did not work for me. I did not like these characters. There were some changes with Bubbles. Mainly because they wanted to include the original voice actors from the animated version.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
And so it's like, sure. I think that if they had just stuck to what they were doing, they would have made something charming and great because there are really great scenes in here. The problem is they wanted to inject their own things and write their own scenes and change things around. And I think every opportunity for them to do something new and different, they made it worse. And so I do give them credit because they made one of the best Disney live action things, but that bar is so fucking low that it doesn't, like me saying that doesn't actually really mean anything. So
yeah, I think that all the times that it was doing well, it was just aping the original, and in fact doing it worse. The fact that they changed things around with Cobra Bubbles is unforgivable. In fact, isn't Ving Rhames still alive? He's still kicking, right? The guy from the original voice actor from Mission Impossible. Why didn't they get him?
Is he gonna be back in
I don't understand.
We'll
I hated that change. Hated the new Aunt character, Jumba. The other guy. Who's the other guy? Jumba. Yeah. He was okay. Like he embodies his character. He put in that same type of performance,
in my opinion.
But even there, like I said, what did I say? Every aspect of this is worse. And I'm hyped up because I literally just saw the original like 7 hours ago because I went to bed at 3 a.m.
Jeez.
Pissed.
I'm pretty much on the same boat with you guys. Like, there's nothing new about this. I hated all the changes they did. It took away from their original story and the heart. The charm is gone. I honestly didn't feel the big bond that they had with Lilo and Stitch whenever she's trying to make him into a model citizen.
Yeah.
They'd cut that out, and I don't know why. It didn't feel like we didn't get enough time.
Stitch himself. He's supposed to be like I'm gonna wreck things, and sometimes he just can't help himself. I'm a monster. And
They took away his guns.
They took
Why
away
would
his
they take his guns?
Can't have guns.
and
so
they give him
stupid.
what a fucking what was it?
Soda jet.
Whatever the fuck it was. It wasn't even funny.
Yeah,
Sucks.
so a lot of that stuff really did a disservice to the emotional parts that you were supposed to get. I honestly didn't like what they did with the Jumba and Peakley. It just felt so off. I didn't like it again, making him the bad guy. But like, you saw the original movie, recently. He's kind of like the vessel. He's like, oh, this is the way I built him to be. But he's watching him. He's just observing
he's
him.
interesting.
He's like,
he's
what's going on
interested in
here?
his behaviors, and that's why it makes sense that they don't immediately come out and grab him. Here,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense that they don't immediately come out and
Yeah,
grab
it's
him.
like, oh, look, what's going on with him? He's kind of changing. We get none of that.
Yeah.
It just
It's almost like he's on
sucks.
his own mission. Yeah, he was sent by the Galactic Council or whatever, but, it's his creation, and he's kind of doing it. And then there was this interplay between, Stitch making fun of the fact that they can't do anything because they're not supposed to interact with humans.
Yeah.
And he's constantly teasing him, and he's like, oh, yeah? Like, maybe you shouldn't have gone with that family. And it's just back and forth for various scenes, and all that is pretty much gone.
Yeah. This is bad. I didn't like it.
Worse in every fucking way. And I'm sure many of its fans are older fans like us. This did come out, in the 2000s or something like that.
Oh, God.
And I think other fans, younger fans, will find it okay. But like I said, the entire time we were in there, none of the little kids were laughing out loud, being excited or rambunctious like we've been in other showings, and they've been doing that. It was really fairly quiet and flat, and just
Disappointed.
they probably was like, yeah, it's fine, but when you grow up, that's a much worse rating than it is
Yeah,
when
they're just
you're
out there
younger.
trying to get the kids to be
okay.
quiet. Be like, all right, let's go watch this movie.
It's in the air conditioning while
Yeah.
it's super hot out.
Yeah. So, let me see. What else can I say about
Without
it?
spoilers.
Without spoilers. Like I said, the
charm is gone.
third act is completely different. The fact that you removed
hated
Captain
it.
Gintu, it was much worse. And David was done worse in here as well. David is this kind of lovable, surfer
Yes.
dude in the original. Here, he has nothing. He is nothing. And yeah, he wasn't in the first very much, but when he was funny, he was charming, and you just feel like he was a good dude. They made a point of it to show that he went back and rescued, Stitch, and he felt a part of the family in this way. And here, his relationship with Nina done worse.
Yep.
And honestly, the core of the film gets mixed up. It's supposed to, like, in the relationship between Lilo and Nina, I feel is worse. Nina seems disconnected sometimes and
It is, 'cause
disinterested.
A big moment for me was whenever they're getting into a fight, and then
Oh,
Lilo
yeah.
brings with fans like Ohana means family.
Yes.
They say that, but the neighbor said it on this one.
Yeah, you
So it's like,
fucked
what
that
the fuck?
up.
I was like, no, it's supposed to be between
No,
sisters.
It's between sisters, and it's their
Not the
thing,
fucking
their
neighbor.
bond.
Yes.
Thank you, Joe. And
Yeah.
then they do an insult to that line because they're doing slapstick comedy. She gets hit in the face with the freezer door while they're saying, we're supposed to be family in that line, and it just doesn't work. Olana, what is it? Ohana. And I was upset, and I think that they pretty much dulled every sharp and interesting edge that Lilo, and it's weird to say that, right? When I was watching Lilo and Stitch, I'm like, this is Disney? This is kind of weird. They didn't shy away from showing, them yelling at each other, them being kind of a broken family. And when that word is used in this film, it doesn't resonate.
Hell, in the original, she crawls into an oven, which they had to. In your version, they probably changed it because in the original one, she literally crawls inside of an oven.
They reanimated it.
To be a
was
pizza box.
Table and a pizza box under the table when it was and so they dumbed it down.
They
and
did.
they removed a lot of the elements that made it somewhat surprising and unique. Its own creative force. And now it feels like every other Disney live action property just kind of redone. It's a fucking
Worse.
shame.
Everything's worse. Because even in the beginning scene, like, Lilo beats the shit out of the fucking redhead girl with glasses. This one's
Oh, there's no redheaded girl.
No,
I forget her name. Yeah, she punches the fuck out of her. And then she later says, I'm sorry I punched you in the face.
It's like, you bit me. It's like,
and she bites. And she's this little feral child that's supposed to show the wildness and outcast of Lilo and the wildness and outcast of Stitch. And both have been sanitized. And I fucking hate it. It's a fucking shame. It shows what can happen when you take something that's, unique and that's a 10 out of 10, in my opinion. 9 or 10 is the original. And you turn it into essentially something that's average for everyone. And
that's why I want them to fucking stay away from Hercules as well.
Yeah.
For Hercules is one of my top ones.
Right, and I
was like,
think
stay away from
I'll
that.
look up the recent articles whether they continue their live action
they need
adaptation.
to fucking stop. They're not doing anything good with it. There's no point.
Everything was worse, guys.
It was.
All right, so what was done better? Well, aspects that I liked better.
If it wasn't one.
I did like how Stitch talked a little bit more in this one. So they got Stitch's animated, like he's cute. He's cute and fluffy. They got his.
We can't fuck that up.
They can't fuck
you
that
better
up.
not.
Right. You better not.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
They
Original
didn't
Sonic.
Sonic the Hedgehog. The actress for Lilo, the little girl.
Yeah, they did
She
good.
fucking nailed it with the material she was given. This is what, a 6-year-old? I don't even know how old she is, but she is the greatest little actress. In fact, she's better than some of the other fucking people in the film. Adults in the film, she's better.
Yeah.
Like I said, Stitch looks cute and animated, perfectly fine.
That's about
That's it.
Honestly.
That's fucking it, man. And I hate that they removed the ugly duckling booklet.
Yes.
Because that
why
made
did
me
they
cry.
do that, though?
It made me tear up.
'Cause, like,
that part didn't make me cry. It made me tear up. I cried towards the end. But it's like, they changed.
They removed the heart because that was a good part. It's like, and he's destroying.
And he gets a book. It's his book, and when he's conflicted, he's thinking about leaving. He takes his book. It means something to him. This idea, being an outcast and needing a family and wanting a family, that's all gone.
Yeah.
Instead, it's just this super sad music that swells, and it's like, this is the part of the movie that you're supposed to be sad.
That's how they're treating you too in the entire movie. It's like,
Right.
oh, this is fucking dumb.
Well, and this one's also 20 minutes longer, and so what they bloat it with a bunch of other crap that honestly isn't as good, and they cut out some of the stuff that is. I mean, for me, it's just someone up top made the decision to add 2 brand new characters, and that cascaded into a giant set of problems where it's like this neighbor character is taking away all these heartfelt moments from the sister that I think we really, really needed.
Yes.
Tia Carrere being in there, I get it. She was in the original. Give her a bit role
That's
or something.
fine. Yeah.
But it's like her character, like, again, there's some
She's
time.
the original voice actress for Nina.
Yeah, but so she plays a brand new character here and so it's like we're taking stuff away from Cobra and some. So it's like
Cobra Bub.
Yeah, honestly,
ridiculous.
like
The
they
original,
could have just had her like be one of the shop owners, like a little cameo. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't need to give
You
her a
don't
full
need to
fucking
do that.
part. Just a cameo.
Cobra Bubble's done worse. I don't like the new Cobra Bubbles.
It doesn't make sense.
It lacked emotional weight. It's crazy that a cartoon from 20 years ago can make me cry, and this live action fucking half effort does
You ever see the Fox and
absolutely
the Hound,
nothing.
bro?
It does absolutely
Don't bring
nothing.
it up, man.
Yeah, old Yeller.
Don't bring it up.
There's films that'll do it to
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And this one does nothing of the sort. And it probably had, a bigger budget. And it does. I looked it up. So the original estimated animated budget was $80 million. And the live action, this one, was $100 million, which actually is shockingly low. Pales in comparison to the 200+ million they gave to Lion King, 200+ for The Little Mermaid.
But they cut costs. They
and
didn't have
most-
the captain.
This was because it was on supposed to be Disney Plus. They cut the captain. That's the reason, probably, because they gave this one less money. Even though, Lilo and merchandising has become a juggernaut, something like $2 billion in merchandising, so more than the original animated movie only made $267 million in the box office, but it was the merchandise that went crazy. And
you bring moose.
Yeah, so I hated Zach Galifianakis as Jumba, and no,
everything about this was just off.
As a new fan, you're getting all this new from me, this emotion, because that was taking a classic and you're butchering it, just like probably how y'all felt in Mulan, because I know how much y'all love Mulan.
It was so
and
Mulan
was done worse. Because they couldn't even mimic the original Mulan.
They completely.
This one mimics the original Lilo and Stitch. It's just every single change that they made was wrong and worse.
Yep.
And Mulan, they couldn't even get the baseline right, and they fucked that up.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we absolutely hate this film. It's the worst trash ever, but it's just generic, a shell of its former self. And all the scenes that were done well were in the original done better, like The Lion King. So let's go ahead and go into final verdicts.
I'm going to give this a 4. I was very disappointed with it. We've said everything we pretty much had to say. I would wait for this for Disney Plus. If you're a fan of the original, you're not going to like it. If you're new to it, I guess still wait, because they did nothing to improve this, and they really gutted the emotional scenes.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Elvis, all the Elvis stuff barely in it. One picture at the end. The fucking hula dance, not in it.
I was hoping for the Elvis Stitch scene.
I guess they thought, Elvis is not cool anymore. Make him fucking cool again then.
Yeah. I liked it a little better. I think, I don't think this is a great movie, and I think if you want to watch the movie, like a Lilo and Stitch thing, just watch the original animated, because it is so much better.
Yes.
Comparing it to the original, yes, there's going to be a huge difference, but I'm more looking at all of the other live action things. I think that this is better than Mulan and Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, Snow White and Dumbo. I mean, I think it's probably on par, if not better, than even Aladdin. I think this is probably the one where they got it the most right, because they fucked all of the other ones up so much worse. So I think this one is probably at a 5, and so I think that this is average, because it does get some things right. It did follow some of the original scenes pretty well, but I completely understand not liking it at all, because the original is kind of a classic for a reason, and they really fucked it up. And it's crazy to me that it's you can watch the hour and 25-minute version and just go, we should hit all of these scenes, and we should make sure we hit all these things. And they have the blueprint right there. It's been there for 20 years. It's in front of them. It's written for them. The guy who wrote the original is in this movie, and he could have been like, nah, bro, don't do that. And they just, even with all of that stuff there, they completely missed the layup. So I'm glad these things hopefully are done with. Me too. Fuck Disney live action. It's been gutted. Every scene done worse, and all the changes worse. And Aladdin, I think, has more energy and fun and visual spectacle. This one, the animation is so unique, and it has a lot of good messages in it, and this one just doesn't execute it well. It's fine to take your kids to it. It's certainly better than Lilo and Stitch 3, which is Stitch the movie. The animation was unforgivable.
It's
Leroy
like the Lion
and
King.
Stitch,
You keep going down,
through.
they're gonna start getting bad.
And I said, oh shit, they did make a reference to 627 in here, which you start to get some of that evil Stitch stuff in Leroy and Stitch and Stitch the movie, and then the animated series. Like they said, they try to fill out all the, there's a one that's electricity, there's the one that's lazy that makes the sandwiches, there's all these, Ruben is his name, and all these other ones. They try to make a Pokemon out of it, and at first I was like, nah man, this don't work, but it just was charming, and so I understood the popularity that grew from it, and I just feel like they didn't put enough effort in that they didn't understand it, and they just kind of slapped it on Disney Plus. Yeah. But somewhere along the line, they were like, "Man, are y'all crazy? Like Lilo and Stitch is a lot more popular than y'all think he is. Why don't we just put this in theaters?" And they were like, "Yeah, you're right. Especially if we're putting other projects on hold right now, we can make some money." And I think they're going to make some money, and I think they're going to get the wrong lessons from it when it does track higher and when it does make more money. So that's what makes me more mad about it, when you take something so good and you make it so blah and generic. So I am also, I think, I want to do 5 out of 10, but I'm going to join Joe at below average, because you fucked up that third act. I just disliked it. I hated it. Hated, Jumba and I can't imagine them doing a sequel and doing more for it, because it just already lost all the steam and life by the end. So that's our opinion on Lilo and Stitch, the live action. Instead of going out with a bang, the live action adaptations from Disney, which I thought that this was going to be a huge hit, I think it goes out kind of on a half whimper here. Even though it'll probably make a lot of money. Do you think that's it from Disney? Do you think that, because we did get that story a while. I got to look up that story.
It's not over. They're going to do some more bullshit.
I mean, if one of the articles mentioned that they think that this is a strategy for them to maintain control of all of their IPs indefinitely and not potentially lose them.
Disney is temporarily pausing its production of live-action adaptations, including the Tangled remake. This decision comes after the performance of Snow White and struggled to meet expectations. Snow White's performance, Tangled paused, future of live-action remakes. Disney is reportedly rethinking its strategy for future live-action adaptations, potentially adjusting their... It's just an adjustment. They're going to wait a little bit and then try to go again. Because I just don't feel like Disney has really an original bone left in their body. Where's this generation's Lilo and Stitch? And I guess they don't even want to bother.
People, I mean, the Elemental and Inside Out 1 and 2 did really well for them.
There you go.
But it wasn't that. I don't think
these are all fucking... Man, we'll never get to see hand-drawn shit again.
No. Thanks, AI.
I think Coco is the last best one.
I love Coco. Was great.
Yeah.
Have you watched Coco?
I watched Coco. Again, not an animated.
They're not going to do that anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. Let's go into the spoiler section. I've got a list of the live-action adaptations. We can see where Lilo actually ranks, and then we can talk about some of the changes. Okay. See you in there. Hey guys, welcome to the spoiler section. So these rankings are all over the place. It's unforgivable to me that Mulan ranks number 6 out of 23. No, fuck that. It's only because the critics are holding it up at 72%.
Wasn't good.
The audience is at 46%. And this is a Disney film where the audience likes everything. So when the audience is at 46%, they're down with us like 2 out of 10. So fuck that.
It released for critics in a weird way. We had to watch it here because this was one of those releases where they didn't do like a full one. They gave us a code. Yeah. And so,
okay, so the Jungle Book, highlight that number 1. I'm gonna start with the best ones, at least ranked on Rotten Tomatoes. Jungle Book, better. Pete's Dragon, better. Cinderella, didn't see it. Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book back in 1994 with that one actor as Mowgli. What is his name? Jason Scott Lee, Carrie Ools. I like that one better.
The one that was in this movie as well?
Yeah, I think he was.
He was the owner.
Yeah. Yeah, so they got Mowgli.
He's Bruce Lee.
Cruella, better. Mulan, worse. Mulan is worse than this. Christopher Robin, never saw it. Beauty and the Beast.
Some people really like that.
I don't
think I know anyone who said that it is at all better than.
Yeah, I've not heard that. But from this to that, that's on the same level. But they didn't. At least they stuck to the source material, and they didn't change the third act and shit. They did change some stuff around. That one, Little Mermaid.
This is better than Little Mermaid. Just based on the scuttle wrap alone.
Oh,
God,
that fucking
hated
Aquafina.
that.
How did
Yeah, that
you
was bad.
remind me
That
of
was
that?
bad.
That was real bad.
Hated that.
Again, on the same level. How about these Disney animated live action
I hated
adaptations? They
that
suck.
they fuck up the third act
They're
again,
always, yeah, they
especially
fuck
with
it
the
up.
mermaid one.
Exactly. Okay, you're right. Maybe Lilo is better than that one. Lady and the Tramp, never saw it. Got 50% on audience, so I don't know.
Wasn't a big fan of
Peter
it.
Pan and Wendy, one of the worst ever.
I've never saw
Yeah, it's
the
bad.
live.
This is better than Peter Pan and Wendy, and this is the 2023 that nobody
Hook,
saw because it was
best one.
god awful.
Fucking
That's
Hook.
different.
Love Hook.
That's
It was-
way
it was
better. Hook
fucking
is
great.
way better. Aladdin, like I said, not a very good movie, but had a lot of energy. Was a crowd pleaser. 94%.
Once again,
in
they
audience.
fucked up in the third act.
They did fuck up,
But it was good.
Mufasa. This is better. Maleficent. I actually kind of like Maleficent, so
like
Maleficent's better.
I mean, these are live action, but these aren't remakes.
Mm-hmm.
So
The Lion King 2019.
when you
just-
sucked all the emotion out, when
Yes,
you decided
yeah,
to not give the
nah.
cats the ability to emote.
This one was
Great
better.
idea, John Favreau. Great idea.
Yeah, Alice in Wonderland. This one was better. Dumbo. This one was better. When I say this one, I mean Lilo. Stitch was better. Disney Snow White. Lilo and Stitch is better. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
Number 2.
This one was better, I think. Lilo was better. 101 Dalmatians from 1996. It's been so long. I don't remember 101 and 102. That's Glenn Close.
Yeah.
I'm just going to skip it. Alice Through the Looking Glass. Lilo and Stitch is better. And finally, Pinocchio, which was real bad on the service 2022.
I never
this
saw
one,
that one.
Lilo and Stitch was better.
Tom
So I
Hanks
would
one?
say it probably ranks in the upper. It's like in the top 10. You know,
I could see that.
So maybe not quite as bad as some of this other shit, but it just goes to show you how Disney has gotten bad in this live action adventure that they've been on, and there's a reason why it's stopping. So, Alex, Joe, what did they fucking change and some of the plot points?
The one I didn't like is whenever they were going surfing, they were having fun.
Oh yeah, the surf scene is so
It was
much
way
worse.
better, obviously, in the animated one.
animated.
This one is they're getting chased by the jet ski, and Lilo kind of drowns. They
Yeah.
save her. They take her to the hospital, which that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that doesn't-
They're like, all right, well now you need insurance. It's like, oh, you don't
they
have
did
insurance.
the insurance thing.
You don't have insurance. She's got to go.
Yeah.
It's like you got to give her to somebody else.
I loved the social worker in the animation just always showing up at the wrong fucking moment.
Yeah.
Because there are genuinely good family moments, but and at that wrong moment you're like, yep, that's not here. in
Yeah,
this
so this one actually, this was the last straw for the social worker was, you don't really have insurance, so you have to go.
Yeah, that was again.
That
so
was a big change.
verse
Versus
in the
him going to
animation where she almost died. No,
The house
I am
is
taking
getting
you
destroyed.
away.
Yeah,
I am
it's like,
taking
yeah.
her away from you.
yeah.
Also, they softened David. David said to Stitch, I really thought that they would make it until you showed up. But it wasn't. But see, David's so adorable and nice that it wasn't. He didn't do it on purpose. He didn't say that to hurt Stitch, but it still stung. It still, it was said, and it hurt Stitch. Here, that he removes that line. And it's just Stitch just realizes himself that he fucked things up.
It's not Stitch's fault. She doesn't have insurance. So.
And when somebody else who's on the inside of a family is like, fuck you, it's your fault, get the fuck out of here, it's so much more sad when you listen to them and you walk off rather than, no, I'm making the decision to separate myself
and
from
it
you
gives
guys.
so much more gravity to the ugly duckling story that he
Yes.
loves.
That everybody
But
was
it's
like,
gone.
get out of here, and ostracizing him. And, oh, my God, you would ostracize me? I thought I would. Oh.
Yeah.
They fucked it up,
That's a
man.
big change
They
I didn't
fucked it
like.
up. Now, I can see from the other angle and Alex's angle that it's done better than a lot of the recent Disney stuff, because Dumbo, unwatchable. Mulan, unwatchable, unrecognizable. It just goes to show you how amazing and magnificent Disney's original stuff was back then. That it, we're so passionate about, hey, this missed the mark. It didn't hit the same way. And when you make changes, you need to make changes for the better. And I can't think of a single better change here.
I mean, the neighbor lady is like Hawaiian royalty, like, you know, as far as like movie goes, like she's in every movie, and it's like we just have to include her because we have to include her. It's like
I hated how the music swelled when she like showed up and she's like, "Hey!" and she's on her fucking ATV and she picks up Cobra Bubbles so that he can go from one location to the next faster.
Yeah, Cobra doesn't need a ride. He's got a ride.
Right.
Yeah.
And the mystery of Cobra Bubbles was taken away. Why is this guy in such a dapper suit and his shoes? And you can pick him out in scenes behind where he's like keeping an eye on them and stuff. And he had this heart of gold, but he was like, who is this? Is he? And he has that. And then that line gets dropped at the end where he's like, Roswell. And she's like, yeah, you know, or he's like, yeah. And so it's like he already knows the aliens.
But not
the
here.
Government knows about the aliens.
Yeah.
But here, they fucked that up, and it's like, oh, we'll keep your secret, even though there's fucking spaceships flying
The
around.
spaceship right there.
It's fucking stupid.
It was so fucking stupid because like they ruined that joke as well because they did do it in the beginning about the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and at the end he's like, oh,
It wasn't funny.
At the end he says, oh, I convinced, I saved our planet because I convinced them that our mosquitoes
love
were
it.
the
It's so
species.
it makes the character clever in the original, and
yeah.
here it's not there.
They
Yeah.
scrubbed it. for
And
some
the
reason.
fact that Jumba is left behind. And the Galactic Council lady is like, do not let these two on my ship, as she leaves and allows a Stitch to stay.
And her family gets
And so
bigger.
because
It's
their
better.
ship is destroyed, they're like homeless, so they join Lilo and Stitch, and they're like a family. And his creator almost becomes like the grandpa, the fucking uncle of the family, Jumba. And none of that chemistry is here because you decided to make him a villain. Now, they try to soften him several times throughout, and the film forgets that the ship crashed and blew into a million pieces, and somehow fucking Lilo is trapped under a piece of heavy equipment underwater, and she's surviving. And then we don't know where Jumba is, and then just randomly Jumba is levitated out of the water. He was there the whole time. That motherfucker's dead. He is a bloated carcass.
It's so stupid too. He's like, oh, Nani was training for heavy stuff, carrying underwater. I was like,
Just doing.
stupid.
Oh, that was really bad.
It's
Are you
so-
talking about
It's like, oh,
the
this
scene
is her training.
where they felt like they needed to give Nina something?
Yes.
And what did they do?
Because he's dense, and whenever he's in water, he's gonna go sink.
Yeah.
But nobody could pick him up except for Dave for that one
Right,
shot.
Dave
I was
did
like,
it
Dave
easy.
did it easy.
And he
Right.
picked it, and he lifted
Yeah,
him.
but nobody else could. So prior, her training, because she's the best surfer, was going underwater with rocks and climbing all the just walking.
And somehow the underwater is totally clean. There's no rocks.
We
There's
had to
no
make it a good
danger.
shot. It's a good shot.
Stupid shot. And then they even show the waves crashing above. I was like, do you understand currents? Like, there's no fucking way that she can
She
walk
trained.
with a heavy ass.
It said she trained.
And they got to
So
give her
it's
this
possible.
thing because they disconnected her so much from, the emotional side that they felt like they needed a hero moment for Nina, and it just
They took
it
everything
doesn't
else.
work.
They took everything else away from her, so
Yeah.
they had to do this hero moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know whose decision it was, but you fucked it up. Like you deciding to add characters and change shit is dumb. And
captain, this shark. He's like, I don't know what he is. He's this
He
huge
looks like a shark.
elephant shark with big, rough and tough and ray guns and stuff. And the fact that he's gone because he was in the little bit in the beginning of the movie, a little bit at the end,
They
and it
sped-
gave it that uniqueness, the goofiness, the fun aspect, and that's gone.
Yeah, they sped through that intro too in the beginning. I was like, okay, like he escaped pretty fucking fast.
Yeah.
They didn't take their time.
That's probably that $100 million budget instead of getting $200 million. If they had been given $200 million like these others, they probably would have kept Captain in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
So
see.
yeah, with Bubbles, he's now the CIA.
you find out that he's a
he
CIA
was
right away.
already-
He was
CIA.
already CIA. Yeah.
He's not a social worker. Doesn't have this mystery about him. There's no reason by the end for him to just like now he's grandpa, now he's like everybody, and it doesn't get earned because
none of this is
you had
earned.
several degrees removed. It made somewhat sense when you're a social worker and you have the bleeding heart and you do the thing that enables the family. You didn't do the thing that enables the family, so you have no right to be here.
No, he just there. It's like, oh, some crazy alien thing happened. We got to go find him. We'll get a strand of his hair, send it off, and we'll come
Why
back.
even
We'll come
keep
back
him in
later.
the movie if you're going to replace him with the other character? So the voice actress for Nina is the social worker in this film.
Yeah, I imagine that's why the hospital scene exists, because they needed more. They're like, hey, we got her. We got to put her in more stuff. It's like all of these new scenes are bad, and they take away from other things that just shouldn't be here.
We don't get the fire dance from David, and I looked at Joe because you do this fire dance. David kind of fucks it up and burns some of the shit, but at the same time, Lilo and Stitch make a fucking mess, and they like break shit everywhere they go. They're fucking chaos, and she gets fired from her job in the animated one, but you can clearly tell it's because Lilo and Stitch are connected to Nina.
Stitch
But
had
here-
somebody's he was chomping on somebody's head.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's why he got fired.
I love
He's like,
that
oh, here
part.
you
I
go,
was like,
man.
Oh, we're
He's
gonna
like,
get to see that.
gross.
Right. No, but here,
like,
nobody saw what was happening. There's no reason for her to get fired.
not.
There was absolutely no reason.
The script said it had to happen.
And the camera just
Yeah, it's
looks
like-
at Lilo and Stitch, and it's like, what?
How are
Nobody
they-
can
why
be
are
like,
they
you
fired?
did all of this. That's not what happened.
A lot of these jokes don't fucking make sense because, again, they transform into human form and it's like, oh, just one foot in front of the other. It's like, bitch, you already had 2 legs. Why are you having trouble? Zach's character, why are you having trouble walking?
No, Zach had 3 legs.
No.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
In the animation. Not Zach, the other guy.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm like. No, Zach is the one that
But
couldn't walk.
he wasn't. He was one walking funny.
Jumbo.
The camera was focusing.
He constantly is falling.
Jumba's off.
No,
screen.
He's constantly
He's
falling
constantly
down.
falling down. That's
I
what
didn't
it's like.
He's the bellboy, and he's like, hey, take his
yeah.
bags. And he's like,
He's like, oh, I'm falling down.
I
It's
don't
like,
know.
you
I've
have
got
2
legs.
legs. What are you doing?
Yeah. Come on, Joe. I can forgive that because his weight radically changes and this and that. But I see. Yes, I see what you're saying.
But it's like-
just.
But like
It's
these, new,
bad
I'm just saying, like,
slapstick.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We're adding new stuff. It's not funny. It's not doing anything. It's fucking dumb.
Right. I did. The only change that I was like, fine, whatever, is that they're not still aliens. They do it at the beginning where they wrap up with scarves and they're all in, like it's a bunch of kids stacked on top of each other walking in a trench coat. They do that. And then they do the technology that gives them a hologram so they look like Zach Galifianakis and the other dude. Billy. And that's fine. But
Gotta cut costs.
because it's the cross-dressing, and I guess Disney didn't want to do that, and well, I guess they did it a little
He's
bit.
wearing
'cause
blouses
he is
a lot,
wearing
yeah.
blouses because he doesn't know what clothes to wear.
I
did like the one extra joke where it's like, oh, I've been studying. We need an expert on this, and bring him in, and he's like, yeah, I've been studying these. They have this cross between cows and boys on this planet, and so I've been studying these cowboys. That was only one all right joke that I can remember that was new. What else?
The commander, there's an axolotl that wants to nuke the whole planet, and she's like, you're a little psychopath, aren't you? And then it's like,
Yes.
oh, that's humorous. But
Yeah.
no-
And Jason Scott Lee voiced David in the original. That's why he's there. I wanted to make mention of that.
Yeah.
Um,
But they did the right thing by giving him a
bit part.
bit
You shoulda
part
did
where
the same
you
thing.
get to give him the nod and go, oh, this is awesome.
Yes.
And you don't have to blow up their part and take away parts from other people.
Exactly.
Yeah, he doesn't have his little ray guns, and in fact, when he breaks out from the prison and he takes the red one, they rush through a lot of this stuff.
Yep.
He actually drove, then he flew backwards, and then started lasering and firing. It was almost like Star Wars a little bit, where he's just having fun and creating chaos.
And he's
they
in
don't
the
call
air
him an
duct
outright
vents,
monster and shit, and instead he's just a dangerous experiment. I was like, I created this thing as a monster and this and that. And they really leaned off of that pedal. I don't know why.
To make room for the new people.
They had to,
yeah. That's why.
Because we had to fit half an hour of new scenes because this movie's 20 minutes longer, plus all the other things that got out.
And it's just so unfocused at the end. Like I said, Cobra Bubbles becomes like integrated in the family the very next day. It makes more sense when he's checking in on the family every once in a while, and then in the sequels is like, okay, cool. But here he's like, you better not be up there doing your tic-tac dance. So who the fuck are you? Why are you acting like you have any parental rights over there? Like, what? Go away.
Because he has to check up on the aliens.
You didn't earn it as the original animated one did. So, all right.
I think another change they did that didn't really work was when Jumbo was confronting Lilo and Stitch. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, well, you just chose Lilo because you wanted to be safe.
Oh, yeah, they tried to add that conflict.
It's like you didn't really want to be...
And Lilo was like, what? You did what? But it doesn't...
Yeah.
It's not one of those teen movies. You only went to the prom with me because you wanted to make Becky jealous.
Exactly.
And it's like, this little girl doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, we didn't know each other.
A second later, she doesn't care. And then she's like, no.
Yeah.
Gotta get
it's another scene that was added on for no reason. I was like, okay, I don't care. Like,
and then it was crazy when Captain, Gantu shows up. And he ends up capturing, and he's reckless. He doesn't care. He's capturing Stitch and accidentally also gets Lilo, puts her in the fucking tube on his ship, and he leaves.
Yeah.
And you feel when Nina like loses her sister.
It's going to space.
It's so fucked up that even Jumba and the other dude who have been at odds with them are like, yeah, we got to help you now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that is all gone because Jumba is the one that puts her into, and she jumps through the portal. They add a portal gun. I forgot to say this. So they add this portal gun instead of, because you can't have laser gun. Well, they do have laser guns as well.
Like trank darts or something.
They did one laser gun as he's in the house.
Yeah, he's shooting him.
He's shooting him. He could have murdered Lilo, but it's in the animation too. So yeah, I don't like that change where Jumba is basically the villain and captures them, and he's like, I'm gonna do things my way.
Yeah.
And I guess
because he kind of was. Once he gets fired, he's like, okay, now I'm gonna go guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
But then
and there's and then at the end, randomly, this picture. So Lilo in the animated one has one fucking picture under her pillow. Yeah. And when Stitch is ripping shit up and he discovers the picture, Lilo comes over and she's like, put that fucking down. She didn't say, she doesn't curse like that. But she's like, don't ever touch that again. And Stitch takes her serious, and he just goes on to the next thing because he's a pure chaos. And you get how much this picture means to her. But in this film, it's mixed with Lilo and Stitch 2, where they find a bunch of pictures of her mom, and she's a really good dancer, and all these other things. So they mix it into this, where she's got a book of like 17,000 pictures,
a bunch of wedding pictures,
and so when this picture shows up later in the film, it's like, who the fuck cares? You've got 17 other pictures at the house, and Lilo and Stitch almost kills himself trying to grab this picture. And when it's like, oh, he got the picture in the end and vomits it out for her, it's like it doesn't have the same impact when he brings her the picture after the house was wrecked and everything's wrecked and the picture's burnt and shit, and gives her the picture because he knows that Lilo is so attached to it. None of that impact is there. So I think that adequately explains.
Yeah,
we nailed it on this one, boy. I tell you what. I'm all hyped up.
If you're not comparing it to the original, I think if you're with your kids, you could have a good time. If the second you compare it to the original, you're gonna have a bad time.
You get where I'm at.
That's true.
But that is just the Disneyfication of everything lately. Is that this is what we're left with? We don't have that passion anymore. We're just like, yeah, it's fine. It does everything worse.
Checks the boxes.
But if you're just seeing it 20, 30 years later. But no, because the original, the animated, I watched it and it affected me. I watched this one, it didn't affect me.
This one, I still didn't feel like doesn't have the charm or the heart.
No, it doesn't.
It didn't.
I was trying not to compare it, but I was like, this one was still kind of moving too fast.
Even on its own,
introducing more
moves
characters,
too fast.
so you don't really get any emotion from anyone, really.
Stop adding a ton of fucking characters in something. Let the fucking film breathe between Nina and Lilo. All right. Anyways, I think we've covered pretty much what was the after credit stuff. So there is an after. It's not after the credits. It's a mid-credits sequence. Once the credit starts to roll, they do some stuff.
Yeah, her sister goes to college because she's very smart.
Oh, that's a new thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so she
loses custody. Actually,
I hate that. And it goes to the
she
fucking
lost custody.
grandma lady and David.
her neighbor has custody of the sister now.
That's fucked up.
And then she goes off to school and she has a scholarship and it's supposed to be very sad. And then they're on a voice, they're having their FaceTiming or whatever. And then it turns out that Nina's a portal gun, and she portals into her sister's room, which I don't think that's how the portal gun works.
It's like, damn, man, you could have done that the whole fucking time. Well,
Yeah.
then you didn't actually really have to leave, or you did leave, but you can visit anytime you want. But she just does this once. And yeah, I don't like I don't like the. You see how it's so confused? That's not what Lilo and Stitch was supposed to be about. It's family, togetherness, this one embrace
She
and hug
booked it.
that we found our family and we'll never let our family go. But they decide, oh no, we need to give Nina a hero moment. Let Nina live her life and leave Lilo. No, it's
Well, they added this line to the neighbor lady, again, trying to give her all the things. It's like family also means you not leaving yourself behind.
Yeah.
And don't let the fact that your parents died and you have to raise your sister hold your life back. And it's like, what the fuck is
No,
this?
fuck that point.
What is this messaging? And she's like, you got to go. I'm going to adopt your sister. I'm going to live with Bubbles. Things
Yeah.
going to get weird. And you're just like, at the end of the movie, you're like, what is this?
no.
Yes.
And this, fuck your life, Nina. You're just there for Lilo, okay? You have an alien space dog that talks at home, okay? That's cute and adorable. You're staying home. Fuck your life.
Yeah.
Fuck Nina's life. I don't give a shit.
No, she's got to go become a Marine.
Biologist.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see how much money it makes, and we'll see since they already mixed in some of the elements. So in the sequel, Stitch has a glitch. It's because he's a created thing, a monster, he starts to glitch out and eventually, dies. And there's like these meters and he dies. And then it's Lilo who is, through the power of love again, kind of resurrects him. That's why they mixed the sequel in here, because that doesn't happen in the original. It's Lilo who's in danger, not Stitch. And there's this moment where that's just to tug at your heartstrings and stuff. And frankly, the sequel didn't have really a reason to exist. And so I'm glad that they, got rid of the sequel, so to speak, by combining it here. So if they do a sequel, I guess they'll go straight into experiments 627 or the previous experiments and do that. But without the family dynamic of Jumba with them, it's weird. But it'll do well enough. Maybe they'll bring Captain Gantu. And maybe
They'll write a completely new thing, and hopefully
Yeah, I
if it's
was
new
like, wait,
ideas, they're all going to be
Why
bad.
is he here?
Yeah. But by then, Lilo is going to be older, the actress. Like, see, here's the thing about animation. She can stay tiny and cute and precious forever. Here, this little actress is going to grow up in like 3 years. So you better get working on that sequel if you want her to stay the same. And I think they dropped a line just to address that. She says, we're supposed to grow old together when Stitch is dead or dying or something. And so when Stitch comes back, I guess they get to grow
Was that
old
something
together.
they set up? Because sometimes they set up, they're like, hey, we're going to get old together.
Nope,
and
they
it's
didn't set it up.
They
She just throws it
She
in
just
there.
randomly has this moment, like, we're going to grow old together, you and I. It's like, you're 6. What are
I'm
you
gonna
talking
go
about?
through puberty, and in 5 years' time, I'm gonna look unrecognizable as Lilo. So we have to throw something in there to address it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, we covered everything with this one, guys. Let us know how you feel. Are you passionate about it?
I can't wait. We're going to get so many good ones, like Big Trouble in Little China. Got to get remade. Labyrinth.
Gremlins.
I know they're working on a Labyrinth remake right now. I hate that.
Gremlins,
Princess
right?
Bride
No.
has to be remade. The Rock
Yeah.
can play all the characters.
Oh, okay.
What else is coming?
And I can't wait for this version of Lilo and Stitch to get audience ratings higher than the original. It's like it's missing so much of the heart. It's just the dumbification of everything. Okay, and the formulafication of everything. All right, guys, that's going to be it for us. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.